had to do anything. Yo, microphone check. 1 2 1 2 1 2. One.
Testing mic 2.
What it do? Welcome to another episode of the Prewsandvews podcast. We haven't fallen off yet. We are not falling off until we start making that YouTube money.
Exactly.
You feel me? Yeah. So it's a joke. Okay, it's a joke. It's a joke. Nobody should come and say that, oh, Michael is doing this all for the money. No, it's a joke. It was a joke. Or maybe, or not. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. On this episode of the Prewsandvews podcast, it's not going to be an episode. It's going to be a part 1 of a series that we are going to do where we sort of do a deep dive into racism from an African's perspective. And it could be the same, it could be different. Everything will come around full circle on the final part, of this series. It'll be a 4-part series. We'll release everything. I don't know. We'll decide on how we release it later, but you are going to see it. So just be patient with us, listen to us, and make your decision when you watch the final episode where everything comes, around full circle. Okay? Believe us, trust us. So yeah, this first video is going to be our initial thoughts on slavery, what we thought it was before we actually changed our minds, if we ever changed our minds. So my first initial thoughts on racism, I think my initial thoughts on racism was, actually, if I say it, it might actually sound racist.
Why?
Like, it might actually sound racist, but
you're already a racist.
Master, I'm not a racist.
Why is it might sound racist?
Before
you are racist.
Wait, before I say what I'm going to say, understand that I don't think like that anymore. I think it was a phase. It was a small phase in my life.
I see.
But I'm out of that phase.
I see.
Okay. So my initial thoughts on racism was I didn't know what racism was. Okay. I didn't know what it was. I don't think I'd even ever heard of it before. Maybe I'd probably heard of it. I didn't give a shit. So I heard of racism. I didn't bother to check what it meant or, what it felt like. I just went through life being oblivious to it. And then I think after SHS entering uni, that was when I started watching a lot of YouTube videos on, social, where people, do social commentary. So the sort of rhetoric I was getting from the videos I used to watch back then was, racism doesn't exist now. It existed back then, but right now it doesn't exist because people have done so many things to, the civil rights movements and all. They've done their best. Now racism sort of doesn't exist anymore. So if you are a black person and you are not well-to-do, you are struggling, it's sort of your fault because you see other black people who are well-to-do, who are making money, and you look at another black person who, doesn't have money, like, bruv, I see your homie right here. He's making money. So why are you not making money? So I think you might be lazy. So that was the rhetoric I was getting from the videos I was watching. And YouTube, the algorithm, it just recommends, it doesn't recommend someone's different opinion. It recommends the same opinion. So I sort of went down this spiral while I was watching, all these videos with the same opinion. Black people are lazy, racism doesn't exist anymore, and all of that. So that was my initial thought, was when I sort of delved into racism. But initially, I didn't really care what it was. But after I heard and I started to care, that was my thought. So, yeah. It was actually kind of racist. But then I digress.
I see.
So, Jeff, tell us your racist ideas.
Well.
Tell us.
Yeah, so mine is a bit similar to yours, except for the fact that, I used to know what racism was watching the Black American movies of the old days, the 2005, 2002, those kind of movies,
Yeah.
And then seeing the way whites were treating blacks and this word racism always echoing in the background.
Yeah.
So I already had a notion of it. Oh, okay, so it's cool. White haters, you know, we're black, you know, fighting for our freedom in a space that we do not belong. So, well, in a way they have a point, but come on, thinking of it, I'm like, man, no. That's not how it's supposed to be, right? So eventually, even though I did not agree with all that act, I stupidly did not check up on what racism really meant until I grew up a bit, got a bit older, and I took a little dive into what racism was actually. Then I got to know that blacks are indeed suffering. So yeah, my initial thoughts on racism was that the whites were suppressing the blacks, and that was it.
Yeah, okay. So I guess you sort of understood what racism was, but I think the fact that we were kids growing up and not really understanding life sort of impacted how, you know, we think of racism or our thoughts on it. But I think to, you know, a kid who lives in Apti, he'll probably understand it best because he's actually living through it and has people always telling him about it. You know, it's part of their history. You can't be a kid growing up and your parents won't tell you, yo, racism is out there. You know, you might probably go outside and get shot by the police. So yeah, I think as kids in Africa, it takes longer to sort of understand an issue like that because it's very serious. So yeah. So the second part will be what we know now about racism.
Exactly.
What we actually did some research and watch other stuff, and yeah, that will be for the second part. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe. Please do one of it. Do one, at least do one.
That for us.
If you subscribe, like. If you like, subscribe. If you
comment.
If you do all comment. If you do all share the video. If you don't do any of that, well, fuck you then.